nights till the Saturday lights, breaking down the tide. Every wrong, every right, got the inside fire and the Bama pride. When the Crimson's on the line, we alone for the ride. Bama voices on the call, we gon' break it all down. Roll it up. From the rumble in the trenches to the kings of the crown. Roll it up. Yeah, the tide runs deep and the show runs strong. Jack, Jeff, Trev, keep it rolling all season long. Every snap, every play, every headline drop. If it's Bama on the field, you know we never stop. Fast take, big stakes, tide talk all day. Alabama by CFB, we don't play. Crimson spirit in the air, let the good times flow. Times flow. Roll it up. Only one place to be when you love.
Good evening, Crimson Tide Nation, and welcome to the 83rd edition of Alabama Crimson Tide Live. From yours truly, Jackson Johnson and Trevion Ware. Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports will join us here in a little bit as we go over our takes on the scrimmage that happened earlier last week. Kalen DeBoer's press conference from Friday, the Keon Sabb press conference, Daniel Hill's press conference, and our final thoughts on the 2025-2026 men's hoops season, where it ended with a loss in the Sweet 16 against the Michigan Wolverines. But good things are coming ahead for the Crimson Tide. And let me tell you something, you're going to be in for a good time for a long time, all right here on Alabama Crimson Tide Live. How you doing tonight, good buddy?
Doing good. Obviously, this weekend, watching Alabama men's hoops and stuff like that. Didn't end on the note we thought it would end it on, but, still a lot of good to come in that area of the athletic facilities with Alabama football and Alabama baseball capping off a sweep this weekend over Auburn and stuff like that. So still a lot of positivity around Alabama athletics. Obviously, with the football team getting back to work today for week 3 of spring practice, and a lot of stuff going on in that area. So, I'm doing all right, doing good. Getting closer to A-Day, so that's always. So,
Oh, man, I feel like I'm getting an Easter treat already with A-Day coming closer, man. I tell you what. But before we go over our takes on what's been going on in the scrimmage, we just like to let you know that Alabama Crimson Tide Live 83 on Alabama The Voice College Football is presented by FanDuel, where you can get top-notch takes in the world of college basketball, especially in the Final Four. But we've got some takes from the NBA as well. We've got Major League Baseball and all that as well. Because tonight we've got the Heat and the Sixers going at it, the Celtics and the Hawks, the Suns and the Grizzlies, Bulls, Spurs, Mavericks, Timberwolves, Cavaliers, Jazz, Pistons, Thunder, Wizards, Lakers, Suns, Magic, and Nets. Oh, well, okay. So I jumped the gun a little bit too early because we got a little bit of Tuesday's lineup. Trevion, if you had to have a little parlay for Monday night or Tuesday night, Wednesday night, what would you have in your lineup from the NBA exactly?
That's a good question. Obviously, with the NBA inching closer to the NBA playoffs, stuff like that, the matchups are heating up pretty much. So for NBA purposes, I would be looking at a game like Philadelphia versus Miami Heat. I'm looking at specifically at VJ Edgecombe, the rookie shooting guard from the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm looking for him to get hot from 3 tonight. So I think putting him on 2-3 points might be a good suggestion as well. Looking at on the Heat's perspective and stuff like that. Tyler Hero, Heat shooting guard, he can fill it up downtown, so I think he can do so as well. So you can probably put them down for 2 threes. Okay. Also in that game, Joel Embiid is getting healthier as they inch close to the playoffs, trying to make that playoff run. So you can put Joel Embiid for an alt line for rebounds, and that alt line will probably be about 6 rebounds for him. Also looking at the San Antonio Spurs versus the Chicago Bulls. San Antonio has been on this awesome run in the second half of the NBA season. They've pretty much been almost unbeatable, or as close as you can get to it. So I'm looking for them to continue to have a good, strong push in the second half of the season versus the Chicago Bulls. So I'll be looking at a player like Victor Wembanyama. Putting him down for about a 10 rebounds. That would be a good bet as well. Looking at on the Chicago Bulls side, you can look at Josh Giddey. He's their do-it-all player. Points, assists, rebounds. He does it all. So I'll be looking at his points, rebounds line. It's normally around 17. You could audit down to 15. Also looking at the Dallas Mavericks versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Looking for Cooper Flag to bounce back, especially yesterday, seeing his Duke Blue Devils go out the way they went out. So, you could put Cooper Flag down for probably about 6 rebounds. I think that's very doable for Cooper Flag, especially with the Timberwolves not having Anthony Edwards. And lastly, my last game I want to touch on is probably let me mix some MLB in there too. There's a lot of MLB,
Yeah,
MLB
there we go. Yeah,
MLB just had their MLB just had their opening week last week. So it's a lot of intrigue in baseball as well. My favorite player is Shohei Ohtani, so you can look out for him to get 2 bases tonight. I feel very confident in that. Looking at another pitcher in this Oakland Athletics versus Atlanta Braves game, looking for Bryce Elder, the pitcher. Bryce Elder, I think that he can get 4 strikeouts. I definitely think that that's a good bet as well. And also looking at
Braves over 1.5 over the Athletics.
Yeah,
Although
man.
it does feel
It's
kind of
early.
weird only referring to the Athletics as only the Athletes because of that mess going on in Oakland, and they're not like referring themselves Sacramento because they're kind of waiting it out for 2028 for their official move to Vegas. But that is another story for another day. But
But rounding out my baseball picks, I would also put in. Let me see. You could also go to the Detroit Tigers. I look for those bats to get hot tonight. I look for a player like Spencer Torkelson. You can mix different props from his hits to his runs to his bases. But I think that a good line to pick in that game would be hits, runs, RBIs combined. So you can put that for 1.5. So NBA, I got VJ Edgecombe 2 threes. I got Tyler Hero 2 threes. Joel Embiid 6 rebounds. Cooper Flag 6 rebounds. MLB, I have Shohei Ohtani 2 bases. Spencer Torkelson 1.5 over hits, runs, and bases. And for the Atlanta, I got Bryce Elder, the pitcher, for him to get 4 strikeouts. So I think that that's a profitable parlay that all the listeners can profit off of. But if you want to dibble and dabble on your own, FanDuel is definitely the place to go. They have different betting props from over, under spreads and things of that nature. So if you definitely want to tap in and see what FanDuel has, you definitely can do so. And we appreciate our partners from FanDuel for their continued sponsorship that helps us power the show. So, I give them their little shout out. That's what the early promotion of the show is all about. So, yeah.
Oh, there we go. I want to see the Braves smack down on the Athletes, but don't want them to smack down the A's too much because it's like the Athletes have suffered enough from the crappy decade they've had. So it's like I'll never pick at the A's. I will pick at a lot of teams in the MLB, but the A's are not one of them because that's kind of like picking at a baby for being a baby. There's just things you don't do in life. But there's things that we do want to go over. RCW, a.k.a. Ryan Coleman Williams, bringing that magic, going nuts in the first scrimmage. Man, like 3 touchdowns.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Let's look at it, shall we? What did you think about this, Trevion?
Yeah, seeing Ryan Williams have the day that he had on Friday at the scrimmage, operating well with both of the quarterbacks, Keelan Russell and Austin Mack, going against the Tide secondary that we think is going to be pretty good in 2026, I think it's a big sign. I think it's a big sign for his confidence. I think it's a big sign for all the doubters that have been doubting him. Ryan Williams is obviously this offseason, he's done a lot of self-reflection on the season that he had last year. from our standards, Alabama fan standards, and a lot of people in college football standards, it was a down year. But people got to realize the kid still had over 48 catches, still made a lot of big-time plays. But it was just the inconsistencies in his game that we saw that, we would think he would make the next step. But seeing an early performance like this in spring practice where iron sharpens iron and going against the Kane Warmack defense and him still be able to be effective, I think that that's a great sign for the 2026. Like you said, 3 touchdowns, just being able to look like the Ryan Williams of old. And that's the 2024 version that first popped onto the scene as a 17-year-old kid and made a lot of people pay more attention than they were already paying attention to Alabama. So the fact that he's able to do this in 2026, I think it's a good sign to come for what we can see for Ryan Coleman Williams in 2026. Like I said, and having that new name change and having that new number, I think he's got his swagger back. Obviously, he still has a lot to work to do this offseason as he builds towards the season. But like I said, an early performance like this, you can't do nothing but be encouraged by what you've seen. So.
Oh, man. And I'm also encouraged by the fact that we get to see some top-notch practice footage as well, especially from today.
Yeah, obviously today Alabama getting into the 3rd week of spring practice. Right now we're looking at all the quarterbacks, looking at Keelan Russell, looking at Tatum Quawa, looking at Austin Mack and stuff like that. And then we got to see some of the tight ends and the offensive line. There's been a lot of talk about the offensive line with just how they're continuing to fill out the 3 spots. Obviously, we know that the projected 3 starters are Racing Delegati. It's going to be Jackson Lloyd, and it's going to be Michael Carroll. And Michael Carroll recently has been projected to move to inside to guard, so that frees up another spot. And it's been a player like a Javen James who stepped up pretty well this spring, and he's looking pretty good. And then you're talking about another cat in Nick Brooks, who's also looked pretty good. Definitely seeing the offensive line come together. And then the offensive line just right across from them, the defensive line. We're seeing the defensive line continue to show versatility just with the different bodies and skill sets that they've collected and brought in return this spring. It's definitely a lot to be excited about on this defensive line. So, I'm definitely pleased with what we're seeing in practice. We're seeing Jeremiah Beeman, who missed the entirety of last season, bounce back pretty well. We're seeing Devon Tompkins look good as advertised. Just seeing some of those younger players, too, continue to evolve in Kane Warmack's defense. And with the help of Freddie Roach, seeing Fatu Henry looking pretty good right there. So, day 1 of week 3 of Alabama spring practice is looking pretty good. It looks like everything is on pace. Obviously, there's still a couple remaining weeks left until Alabama puts the pads on in front of everybody to see at A-Day. So you only can be pleased by what you've seen so far, what I've seen so far. It's been a lot of good reports coming out of practice from players speaking highly of each other. And it's definitely something that you can definitely be encouraged by early on in this offseason.
For sure. I'm excited about the offensive line. Like, that's one of the positions I'm looking forward to seeing for as we keep going on with the spring practice and the A-Day game coming up. Like, that's the position I'm looking forward to the most, because the offensive line will make or break the 2026 season for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, most definitely. That offensive line has been a lot of talk, especially with Adrian Clem taking over and him infusing that new type of energy in that group. And we're seeing that by how they are intentionally practicing each and every day their approach, how they're able to continue to construct this offensive line. It's still a work in progress, but the fact that people are starting to come out about just the clear candidates for these particular 5 spots up front, I think is a very encouraging thing, especially when you consider that Alabama last year, this time last year, it was a lot of chaos up front, just a lot of mixing and matching, a lot of guessing going on. But the intent that they're showing early on in these spring practices and the fact that they're able to kind of weed out who's going to do what, who's going to help where, I think that's a very big thing. And of course, they have to continue to build on that, and they have to get together with the defense, like I said, at A, and see how that group plays collectively. But I can see some of the foundation being built. And, like you said, that position is single-handedly going to make or break the Alabama Crimson Tide in 2026. We learned last year that everything – I already knew this, but, I feel like Alabama fans who knew this and who didn't know this, it was a reminder. It was a reminder even for me that, if you don't have solid offensive line play, if you are not tough in the trenches, you can only go as far as you can go. That will catch up with you at the end of the day, and it caught up with the Crimson Tide. So the fact that they are being very intentional at this particular position, I think it means a lot. So I'm very excited to see how they perform and excited just about the progress and everything that I've been hearing out of spring practices from the coaches to the players. So, it's a work in progress, but we still got to just let them work.
Agreed. We've got plenty to work on as the spring continues on. And we'll go ahead and look at the comment section before we get to our next topic. And Godfather the SEC always coming in here, giving a running joke from the Diesel Freaks' famous phone calls on Alabama with the Voice of College Football on the College Show. And love the emojis, the Bama Voice of College Football emoji, the foam finger, Big Al, and the Nick Saban hat. Who doesn't love a good Nick Saban hat? It always looks good, especially for Easter. And
and I just definitely want to give a big shout out to OG Godfather, always showing love, always popping up on every time we come on here. He's always one of the first people to comment and like the video and stuff like that. So we definitely appreciate you just for continuing to show your commitment to us, and that's why we work hard as we do to try to give out a good show for something for you to watch. So we definitely appreciate that, man.
I agree. We appreciate very much, Godfather. And Jeffrey will be here in a little bit, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to show the catchphrase of Jeffrey from Godfather as soon as Jeffrey gets here. Ed Maddox, Gridiron Garage. Thank you for sharing the link out on ads. We appreciate you giving us a shout.
Appreciate that, man. I'm just now seeing it. I'm live, so a lot of stuff going on. But I definitely appreciate my good guy Maddox. He always showing love. Definitely got to continue to show love back. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you for tuning in, brother.
Let's go, man. And oh man, we appreciate very much, man. And of course, we've got we've got more magic coming your way. But before we get to our next topic, discussing Keon Sabb, and then afterwards we discuss Daniel Hill and Kalen DeBoer and much more. These are the last days of preparing for Easter. I gotta look nice, but also Mother's Day is coming. Where in the world do we get some cool merch? I don't know what I'm gonna do. Trevion, I think you've got an idea.
Yeah, I definitely got a good idea, especially with me. I can't forget Mother's Day. My mom always showing up for me. My mom like my best friend. But if you're looking for a gift, if you're looking for a just a way to show your appreciation, you can tap in to see what we have on the Alabama Voice of College Football channel. Our link is in the chat. We have a lot of stuff from hats, T-shirts, mugs, coasters, sweatshirts, anything you'll be looking for just to show that appreciation on Mother's Day, whether it's for Easter, could be your grandma, could be somebody that, who acted like a mother. We definitely have things of that nature to, just help us show appreciation. And these items that we have, they're unisex for men, women, boys and girls, come in all different shades and colors. So we definitely appreciate anybody that takes the time out to see what we have. It helps us make a buck, and it helps you, show that appreciation. So we definitely appreciate you.
Oh, there you go. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at Publix about the magic from bocfb.shop.fourthwall.com/collection/Alabama for Alabama Voice College Football merch, all right here. And if there's anything you would like to see from the merch store added, email voiceofcollegefootball@gmail.com for more merch ideas. As we can come up with some, I'm sure the network can definitely come up with something for the summer, as it belongs to all of us, all right here. All right, so we saw Keon Sabb do a little talking this weekend. this last week, and he was bringing out a lot of discussion, and I'm excited to see what he has to say.
Yeah, that talk came from today. Actually, as Alabama wrapped up their 8th spring practice of the spring, Keon Sabb said a lot of good stuff, and it's always good to hear from your vets. So definitely want to hear what Keon Sabb had to say.
I think it was really good. A lot of people competing out there, a lot of young guys making some plays, earning trust on the team. Ivan Taylor stepped up a lot. Zay Mincy's stepped up, Rael, and Jair Evers as well. So we got some young guys playing a lot of snaps right now. Ivan just continuing to get better each and every day. Guy that keys into any little detail. So when you see that from a young guy, it's really important.
Where would you like to see some improvement coming off the first scrimmage?
Just to improve as a team, being able to play together. We got a lot of new guys, 40-some odd different transfers and things like that, new players. So being able to gel as a team and get to that level where we play all as one.
What was the process for you coming back with this year?
It was very important for me to get an opportunity to play a full season healthy. So that was something that was important for me.
How healthy do you feel this spring?
I feel really good. Obviously, continue to get through the spring and to season and camp and stuff like that is important for me. Win a national championship. I won one already, so I'm trying to win my second now. We got the talent and stuff to do it, so looking forward to it.
One of you guys aren't you front seven. What have you seen from them?
We got some really guys that are dogs. Like at Bama, you want guys that really compete, and I feel like through the transfer portal and through the young guys, I think we found that.
What comes to mind when you think of that dog?
I really feel like it's all of them. It's no one single guy. We all pride ourselves in playing as a unit. So once I see one guy, I feel like it's the whole unit down there.
You said earning trust. What's the key for the young guys to earn that trust?
Proving to your teammates that you can do what you're supposed to each and every snap. Not being amazing on one play and being decent on another. Being able to be consistent throughout the entire game.
Has anybody surprised you with that consistency already?
Ivan Taylor's a guy that I said earlier in the safety room, so I'm hands-on with that as well. I think he's been really showing up.
Excited to have your brother come here.
Yeah, that's an amazing experience, especially for my family. I have my little brother here with me. Last few years, I've been away in college and stuff like that. He's been playing with his younger brother as well, so I get a chance to do it with him.
What do you think?
Excitement and joy. Kind of selfishly for me, just have my little brother around, but he's coming up here to do his job as well.
What's it like having Bray as well back alongside you?
It's amazing. Me and him has built a really good bond on the field. I know where he's going to be. He knows where I'm going to be. So just looking forward to getting him back out there.
Did you talk over your NFL decisions together at the same time? How did that work?
I mean, we talked a little bit, but, his decision is what's best for him. Mine is the same way. So it ultimately worked out together with us both coming back. So that was pretty cool.
What does he do well?
He's very explosive. Short area quickness is a really big thing for him. So I'll look forward to me guarding him, tackling him, throwing him up a couple of times. So that'll be cool. My approach, be physical with him. I'm big brother. He's a little brother, so it's come with the physicality.
Who's winning that one-on-one?
Oh, me, 100%. He's a good guy. He's talented. Even my younger brother thinks he can mess with me, but I'm top dog. So, yeah. Two really talented guys. They both got different strengths and weaknesses. Just learning to play against them, honestly. I think they're doing a really good job on both sides. Looking forward to the competition to go out through the spring into camp as well.
So many guys coming back in the second.
Best in the country.
What's the key to getting there?
Consistency. Can you do it each and every snap, like I said before? So once we get to that point where I felt like we were close last year, I feel like we'll take it to that next step this year.
How do you see David?
He's grown a lot. Coming from corner to safety, it's definitely a really hard transition, but he's been making it look really easy. He's been getting better each and every day, so looking forward to that.
What's it like having two corners that are 6'4"?
It's a blessing, man. I can stay in the post, and I can really trust and lean on those guys to make plays and do what they're brought here to do.
What were your overall thoughts on the communication at the back end during that first round?
Obviously, I didn't think it was up to the standard, but it was pretty good. Obviously, we're looking forward to just keep getting better and continue to grow throughout the scrimmages.
So much turnover inside linebacker. You
guys having to do more on the back end in terms of setting things up?
No, I feel like the linebackers, they do their job as well. They command their side of the ball, their area with the front line, and DBs do their job at the back end as well.
More questions?
Good. Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we go. That was Keon Sabb in the press conference room today, talking a lot about consistency. And Cherion, what was your takeaway from that press conference?
It was a lot of takeaways for me. Obviously, hearing about some of the younger DBs that's stepping up in the absence of Bray Hubbard. Bray Hubbard has been very limited this spring. It's just really about precautionary and stuff like that, giving him the rest he needs. So that's in Hubbard's absence, that's giving a lot of young players like a Jair Edwards, like a Raquel Keeley, but most notably like a Ivan Taylor, who's returning to the secondary for his second year. Ivan Taylor played 15 games last year. He had 14 tackles and 1 pass breakup, showing that physicality. And now that he's getting those extra snaps under his belt that he normally wouldn't get if Hubbard was there, I think that this is a big time for a player like Ivan Taylor. Ivan Taylor, he has the pedigree, especially when you look at his dad, who played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-time Super Bowl champion Ike Taylor. So the fact that he's able to get these reps and make the most of them and show the coaching staff that he can be counted upon, I think that's a big thing because, there's no telling in the season when Alabama's defense might have to turn to him. So I definitely think that the addition of, just the opportunity afforded to some of these young players, and Keon Sabb being able to coach them up, on the field, being the veteran that he is, I definitely think that it can pay dividends for Alabama in the long run. Whether that's the first week of the season, whether that's the 8th week of the season, the 12th week of the season, really doesn't matter. Those reps are valuable. It's just about the mental capacity that they're able to learn in, and I definitely think that, like I said, it'll pay off long term. But obviously, we got our third member of the show. Checking in, my guy Jeffrey. Definitely want to hear what Jeffrey has to say about that. I know you caught the tail end of Keon Sabb's press conference today, but like Jackson said, he spoke a lot about some of the changes going on in the Alabama secondary. Obviously, like I said, Bray Hubbard is not there, but it's giving a lot of young players some chances to step up, and he also thinks that this defense could be one of the best defenses in the country, just with the continuity that they have on this side of the ball. So I want to know your thoughts about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I didn't hear a lot of it. Wish I had been able to hear more. Sorry about being late. But definitely glad to hear about consistency from them. Because, I know you can just say it, but, if you consistently hear it, then it makes it seem like it would be more viable that you would actually get that result this season. I don't think we've heard them talk as much, specifically the players, about consistency. So if the players are saying it a lot, then that means the coaches are saying it a lot, and hopefully that would actually come to fruition. I do agree with you on hearing, with some of the younger guys getting a lot of reps. This is the time for them to do that. I honestly, spring ball and fall camp, it is important it is for the starters to be ready and for those guys to separate. It's also important for those guys behind the starters, to close the gap and possibly overtake the starters if they're actually performing better. Iron sharpens iron. It's a cliche phrase. We hear it all the time. I'm sure every single fan base and every single coach from every team and most players have talked about that before, but it's true. Usually phrases like that you hear all the time, they typically are true and they hold a lot of weight. And if Alabama's younger guys, on the depth chart, like even we talked about with the offense, guys like Sedarian Morgan, like I said the other show, like he might not even play much, but he's pushing the starters to get better, because it's like, hey, if those guys underperform, he's right there. Even with our quarterback situation, whether it's Mack or Russell that starts, if they're not doing good, you've got that other guy right there. It's always good to have other options. You don't want to just have one guy. Team's a team. You got starters and depth pieces, but the more good players you have, the better. And I definitely think that our defense has a lot of options. You know, like some of these starter roles, some of them, a couple of them we know for sure, but a lot of them seem kind of still up in the air. Like there's a lot of competition for those spots. There's a lot of guys chomping at the bit to get their chance. So this is definitely the time for that. You know, yeah, that's in the off season. You grow during the season too, but you really grow in the off season. That's where you make your most significant development, or that's where you should. So I'm a lot of the things I'm hearing are good about Alabama. You know, I feel like us as Alabama fans and in media people and everybody in general, we're searching for positive signs because Alabama is seemingly in the national media is on a downward trajectory. You know, we're not in the top 10 of most way too early top 25 polls. We're a little bit lower. So we're looking for these guys in the spring ball and later on in fall camp and spring practice. We're trying to see like if these guys are going to get better, because that's going to give us a sign that, hey, maybe even though the national media is a little bit lower on us this year, that we're not going anywhere. Our team is going to be ready and prepared for the season. So that's what we're looking for. And I'm seeing a lot of positive signs, especially from some of these younger guys. So it's a young team. So there's a lot of opportunities for these guys to get on the field and possibly, maybe shake up the lineups in ways we don't expect.
Oh, great, right there. And one of the things I liked about the press conference that we heard from Sab, from what we saw, was when he was talking about his brother being a part of the team. It was funny when he was like, I'm still top dog. Like that was the funniest part right there was, him talking about like his brother being teammates. And I got to tell you, that's going to be a lot of fun seeing Keon Sab and Amari Sab on together at Alabama. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, but also my bad, Jeffrey.
Oh, you're good. Absolutely.
Yeah, but also, Keon said I spoke a lot about just building that trust in between your teammates and stuff like that. They have a lot of new, 47 new players on this team. So this period of time is really just about building that trust and having that line of communication. Because you don't want to go into the season not being able to trust the man right next to you and stuff like that, because that creates players thinking too much, and that creates mistakes on both sides of the football. So the fact that they are emphasizing the trust factor and being able to build that trust in between teammates, I think that's a big thing, and that could definitely pay dividends for them later down the line as well.
For sure. And our Army EP sits at FZ. I gotta get that handle right. My bad, because it was another one. But anyway, where he's saying, "I'm glad they're underestimating us. Please take us lightly." I'm right there with you, because it's like that small stop. Thank you, Army 3275. I'll make sure to remember that. And I will say, it's a good thing they're underestimating Bama, because it's like that small stock, like GameStop. People that invested in it in December 2020, and those that invested in it had a good benefit in the long term, especially late January of 2021 and February 2021. It was a win.
Or Sam Walton, of the founder of Walmart, his uncle gave him a loan for his first store.
Exactly.
That right there is the best example that I can think of for you had no inkling that it was going to work. Like he opened a store from nothing. He used his uncle's loan money, and it worked and became the store that we all shop at today, even around the world. So you never know what's going to succeed, for sure. I think that statement though about underestimating, please take us lightly, it's not a position we're used to being in. It's not normal for Alabama. No. Alabama is always at the top the last 15 to 20 years. Yeah, there's been historically times where we haven't been very good, but the last 15, 20 years, Alabama fans have just been used to seeing, okay, we're preseason number 1, or we're preseason number 3, or preseason number 2, all that kind of stuff. We're not right now. And that's why it gives Alabama the opportunity to be in a position that hasn't been in a long time. It's like, hey, well, maybe we're preseason number 15, but we finished the season ranked 6th. That would be a win for Kalen DeBoer if that happened. I know it's short of a natty. You want a natty, but, it's like you want to, show that you're doing better than you're expected to do. That's why this season is such a weird one for DeBoer, because it does feel like it's building so much for next season. It's for 2027. But if Alabama fans turn on DeBoer too quickly this season because they underperform, that's not going to be good at all. So it's just very interesting. I mean, even Alabama was trying to use the underdog logic against Indiana in the playoff last year because Alabama was an underdog against Indiana. But the problem is that Indiana also could use the underdog argument against Alabama and say, well, we've never been here before. You have every year. So we know how that went. But using the underdog or underestimating mentality only works if the players feed off of it. It doesn't do anything. I mean, we heard Tommy Castellanos talk trash toward our team last year, and that made me pick Alabama to win by 21. I was like, all right, he talked trash. He talked smack. Alabama's going to kick Florida State off the map. Didn't happen. So none of this means anything if Alabama doesn't use it as motivation to get better. And if they do, that's great. If they don't, then, the media and the people that were underestimating us were correct. So that's what we can't have. They can't be right. They have to be wrong, and the players have to prove them wrong.
100%.
What you going to say, Jackson?
I was going to say, I just want to go ahead and point out this $4.99 super chat from our good buddy Godfather the SEC, as he says, Jeffrey from Only Talk Sports. We appreciate the $4.99 super chat, and we just want to let you know, any super chat contribution, super sticker contributions help this channel grow. But even if you can't be able to put in a super chat or put in a super sticker right here on Alabama the Voice of College Football, no worries. That's why on the ticker down below, you like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell to Alabama at the Voice of College Football, so you never miss another video whatsoever. From Trevion Ware, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, and yours truly, Jackson Johnson. All right here.
Yeah, but I will say this. I mean, I think it's kind of fair that Alabama is not garnering the normal notoriety that they would, because it's just so many unknowns with this football team. I mean, just being honest, like I said, 47 new players and a lot of turnover in the coaching staff and stuff like that. A lot of unprovens, a lot of stuff that, it's a lot of potential there, but who says that potential pans out? I mean, not being negative Nancy or anything like that, but that's just the honest reality of the situation. So like Jeffrey says, it's up to them to prove it. I mean, it's up to them to turn that potential into real production. So, I mean, but I like the mindset that they are approaching each day with that practice. I think that's a very big thing. I think that you come to work with that same mindset every day. Eventually you'll start to see results. So they just have to keep their head down, not worried about what we have to say, not worried about what the national media has to say, the fans, the pundits, and anybody else that's talking. Because at the end of the day, they still got to go on the football field in between the grass and do the job. Or like Jeffrey says, everybody that was talking down, they'll be 100% right, and they'll have nobody to blame but themselves. But there was also some more takeaways from today's practice. Daniel Hill, junior running back, spoke today. I thought he said a lot of good stuff with his weight and stuff like that. But we'll let Daniel Hill take it away from there.
Just going out every day, working, trying to get 1% better every day. Gelling as an offense, competing with the defense every day, just trying to get better.
Notice your weight change with the updated roster. What went into that?
I had to just go back and see what I was doing wrong. I had to change the way I was eating, cardio more, and that's really it. And just keep working at that. That's something that I feel like I need to change. The coaches feel like I need to change, and I made a commitment to myself to, get my weight down.
How are you feeling about the diet? Huh? What had to come out of the diet?
Just here and there, junk food a little bit. I wasn't eating a lot of junk food, but it was just here and there. I had to cut that out.
What's your favorite junk food?
Cookies. I say probably cookies.
No more honey buns?
No honey. I don't like honey buns. I feel good. I feel way faster. My body feel better. Like all the little neck injuries, things like that, I'm not having those anymore. I just feel better as a whole.
What have you seen with this running behind this offensive line this spring?
We still got. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Just every day coming out, doing better, gelling as an offense. They never play together, so we just gotta come in every day, keep working at it, and we'll see how it goes during the season.
What do you think with Jackson? What do you think with Jackson at left tackle?
Jackson, he's doing good. He's doing great. He's been working ever since last season, just coming back, doing better, doing the little things right, working his ass off in fourth quarter, spring ball, everything like that.
Is it the kind of thing where you talk to members of the offensive line and say, "Hey, I need this look, I need this guy," or is it kind of you guys get jump together, you read through what sort of
Yeah, it's just them really coming together, depending on the run, the scheme, things like that. I talk to them every day. Hey, let's keep working at this. Let's keep doing this. Good job doing this and that. So, just talk to them as a running back, just knowing, telling them that I'm there for them no matter what, and just getting better.
And what is the focus as you guys try to improve the running game this season compared to last? Like, what are you focusing on as a running back room to improve on?
Just being more explosive and just seeing the field better. Just running behind our pads, just doing all the little things right that can not only help us, but help the O-line, help the offense as a whole.
what we're seeing from AK and Hannah?
They've been working. Ever since fourth quarter, the winter program, all that. They just been working, trying to get better, pushing me to be a better player, pushing the whole running back room for us to, become an elite group. I really love the way those guys are working.
What are your thoughts on the quarterback battle?
They're both working hard. I really can't say, who's leading. They're just both working.
Outside of your body, what's the biggest area that you wanted to take a step forward to this year?
Pass pro. I wanted to, do better in pass pro. I know I gave up a few sacks last year, and that as a running back, that just can't happen. We got to protect the quarterback, and yeah, that's something that I feel like I need to work on. There, I'm gonna continue to work on it.
What's the hardest part about getting better at pass protection?
Just really technique and knowing when to use technique. Knowing where to go. Knowing where to go. That's one part, but actually, blocking the guy, that's a whole different, aspect of the game, and that's something that, I feel like I need to work on there. I'm gonna continue to do that.
So far in spring ball, how do you feel like your pass pro has improved so far?
It's gotten better, but as a player, I always feel like I can get better at, a different area. It's something that I really need to, continue to work on, just protecting QB.
Do you feel like you have a pretty good understanding of the scheme, where you're supposed to block, picking up who you're supposed to block, and it's just really execution, or is it both?
For me, I feel like it's just after, like, just making, the contact, and I know who to block. It just once it gets to that point, I just have to, finish the guy.
What's the biggest thing you've heard from Coach Brown about the run game? Is there something he's repeating every day in your room about, improvement, or like what kind of thing are they guys doing?
Yeah, just being, an explosive group. That's something that we continue to work on every day. QB mesh, when we're running the ball, Indy, that's just something we always, need to continue to work on, pride ourselves on, just being an explosive group.
Speak on the offensive line, how they've been just doing in the run game so far.
They've been doing good. Like I said earlier, they haven't played together. They're just becoming a better group. Every day just working to get better, and as the spring ball continues to go on, just keep getting better.
Have any defensive linemen surprised you this spring?
Tompkins, USC, yeah, he's a really good player. Him, Dez from South Carolina, those two are really great players.
He hasn't played a lot for you guys, but like, what's kind of the demeanor of EJ? Like, what's it like having him around?
EJ's a great kid. He works hard. He's always trying to find ways to get better. He's constantly trying to meet, constantly trying to find ways to get better. And that's something, as a young guy, that's something that you really you want to be like that. You always want to find a little thing to get better. And I'm gonna always do my best to help him. Whatever he needs, just continue to help him get better.
If he stays healthy, do you think he can make an impact this season?
Of course. As long as he knows what he's doing, as long as he's doing the right things, knows what he's doing, he can obviously make an impact for us.
With so many new pieces in place on offense, you talk about the line gelling. Just kind of how was that first scrimmage for the offense? How did you kind of see things moving?
It was good. We can obviously get better, but as a first scrimmage, them coming together as a group, it was a good scrimmage.
How would you describe Khalifa and Trace and what they bring?
Those two guys are great. Khalifa being the older guy, just coming in, knowing his role, knowing what he has to do to help us as a group get better, and Treshawn as a young guy, just coming in, knowing what he's supposed to do, doing the little things, just like EJ. He always trying to, find the little things, get better for himself, and that's good seeing as a young guy wanting to do better.
Last two questions. Earlier this month, it was a report that came out that you can now squat 805 pounds. Can you confirm that? And if so, what was that process like getting to that weight?
Yes, I did do that. And the process, I've always been able to squat a lot. I say it just, I don't know, it just happened. I really don't know how to explain it. Just they threw it on the bar and I did it.
Were there any big explosive runs in that scrimmage that you remember? How was the explosivity in that scrimmage?
one I can remember, probably Trishawn. He broke off a good run. Just yeah, it's better.
There we go. There we go. I mean, that was a pretty good press conference right there from Daniel Hill. And, it was like you said, Travion, Daniel Hill in your article from today, Hill will do whatever it takes to stave off Alabama's talented young running backs. But, it was, I felt pretty good about what he said about the offensive line. It feels pretty good about where things are at. But, gentlemen, what did you think about the Daniel Hill press conference? But while everybody's talking, I'll go ahead and show a small little clip of Daniel Hill making some runs.
Yeah, for me, seeing Daniel Hill just talk about his weight, going through the off season, having to look himself in the mirror this past season, he was a little bit heavier than expected. A lot of that had to do with just his past off season and his first year, pretty much at Alabama, going through those surgeries and not being at the expected playing weight that he normally expects to be. This off season, he took it a little bit more seriously. He cut out from his diet. He also did some things just from a cardio standpoint, just to get to that specific goal of weight. It was reported that he dropped 8 pounds coming into spring ball, going from 244 to 236. We saw some of that explosiveness last year, but we also saw plays where he wasn't able to take the top off of the defense, and the fact that he is self-aware of that and working to be a better running back. I think that's a big thing, just because he has all the tools and stuff like that, but it's the little stuff that has really been holding him back. And he also spoke about his pass protection, just wanting to be a better pass protector, especially when you have potential of. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a new quarterback back there, but the fact that helping out that offensive line in pass protection, I think that's a big thing. We saw how last year pass protection pretty much get the quarterback beat up. Todd Simpson took a lot of shots. Unnecessary shots that he wouldn't have taken if the group was more sound at pass protection. Jam Miller was pretty much the only one that had a good sense of what was going on in pass protection, but the fact that he had his nicks and knacks, and the fact that Daniel Hill now is the leader in that running back room, being the junior, and having a lot of young running backs behind him, like a E.J. Carrell, like a Kevin Riley, like a A.K. Deere. He has to set the tone in that department, and the fact that he's taking that upon himself to do so, I think that's a very big thing. So, last year we saw Daniel Hill run the ball for 75 times, had over probably 278 yards. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but had 6 touchdowns. He was pretty much a goal line back. He shows some versatility coming out of the backfield now, but his transformation should allow him to do more. It should allow him to play more confident, having more understanding of Ryan Grubb's scheme in year 2 in Ryan Grubb's scheme. I think that's a big thing as well. So hopefully all of this can come together and it can help Alabama's running game be better, because obviously it can't get no worse than what it was last year. They were one of the worst teams running the football last year. You look at the other teams that were probably worse than them. I don't have those teams right in front of me. I think it was like a team like a Rutgers and just some other small mid-major schools and stuff like that. Those teams won 3 games. The fact that Alabama was able to win 11 games with their ineptitude to run the football, I think that means a lot. So now that they're focusing on that specific area of their offense, and like I said, getting a new offensive line, having basically 4 new starters and them gelling together, every little thing that Daniel Hill can help, that he can do on his own to help that offensive line. I mean, obviously the run game and the offensive line go together, but like he said, being more knowledgeable in pass protection, I think that can do nothing but help the stock of that running back room. But like I said in my article today, I pretty much wrote about him just trying to stave off the younger running backs. It is a talented running back room. Me personally, I think it's going to be a running back by committee approach that they take, because they have a lot of different talented running backs with different skill sets. But and Daniel Hill talked about it today, talking about he's willing to help each and every one of them, but at the end of the day, he still got to get his. So the fact that he's taking those small things upon himself and working out those deficiencies in his game, in the way he's built and stuff like that, it can only do nothing but help this running back position. And I was also excited to see him talking about squatting 805 pounds. That's crazy. I mean, the only other person I knew that could squat that much at Alabama, I mean, it was Jalen Hurts. But, Jalen Hurts kind of got a thicker lower body. I mean, Daniel Hill has that same thicker lower body. He said his max before that on squat was 725. So the fact that he's dropped weight, but he's still keeping that type of power. It's going to be exciting to see him in his new, with his new playing weight and how he can be more explosive and more aggressive and more confident. So I'm just excited to see.
Jeffrey, what'd you think?
Oh, thing I really liked that he said was how much better that he said overall he felt. Like you think about like just the regular people, and like sometimes your body doesn't feel very well. You try to do things to make it feel better. Whether working out or eating better, all that type of stuff. And I mean, Daniel Hill, it's not like he was in bad shape last year. You think about a guy like him that was already in good shape last year, saying how much better he feels this year doing what he did. That's huge. That's good advice and good, good stuff for everybody. Whether if you're not feeling like you're anywhere close to 100%. So it's like that's a big thing for me. I really like what he said there. Also pointing out the fact that some other guys that, he mentioned that are really standing out to him. It just goes to show, again, is a positive vibe. Like for me, I mean, I haven't heard Daniel Hill talk much, but he seemed very genuine in his responses. He seemed very positive with his responses that, things are definitely trending in the positive direction for him and the rest of the team. So I liked a lot of what he said. He definitely looks like he's, very prepared for next season. He's in great shape, it looks like. And, I mean, again, the iron sharpens iron thing. He knows that there's guys behind him that could take, his spot away potentially. Like, it's not – when I said earlier that there's positions that maybe aren't set in stone, he's not like a 100% guarantee that he's going to be the starter next year. But with the work that he's putting in and, the things that he's trying to do to improve from last year, learn from Pat's mistakes, becoming a better blocker, getting down a little bit so he can be faster, but still maintaining, the power that he has. I think that he definitely looks poised to be the starting running back next year. Again, we'll see. Only time will tell with some of the guys behind them whether they can really push him. But it definitely seems like overall he's definitely locked in on getting better for himself individually, but also for the team. And I think that's a very positive thing.
For sure. I'm excited to see what we're going to see from the running backs, especially from Daniel Hill and Xavier Crowell this season. That's going to be fun to see right there.
Yeah, but of course, like we say, it all starts up front with the offensive line. They still been doing a lot of trying to audition some particular spots. Said in the show earlier, obviously the three projected starters are Racing Delegati at center, Jackson Lloyd at left tackle. Michael Carroll has moved inside to guard. He was slated to be the right tackle, but they moved him inside to guard because a player like a Javen James could potentially step up and provide them that experience. Javen James played at Mississippi State. He has he has 12 starts in the SEC compared to the only other player on the offensive line in Michael Carroll having 6 starts in the SEC. So he gives them that experience. He gives them that size. So now it's really about finding out who can be that left guard. I mean, there's been some rumors about a potential Nick Brooks from Texas, the Texas Longhorns transfer. He could be a potential answer there. Obviously, Will Sanders, who is out for the entirety of this spring, he was projected to be the answer as well. But like we said, the fact that they are able to pretty much pinpoint their weaknesses up front and pretty much put a lineup together. I think it's a pretty big thing because they can continue to gel even if they don't do well in at Alabama's 8A. They'll have that whole 2-hour scrimmage to look over in the summer to see what they need to build, what type of personnel needs to be where. So I think that is only a good thing. I think that they're way ahead of schedule than they were last year. So that is another positive that I took from that. So hopefully that group can come along so that the talented running backs that they have in the backfield can actually show what they can do, because I don't think the problem was talent last year in the running back field. A.K. Deere was talented. Kevin Riley was talented. Jam Miller, he was hurt, but he was talented. Daniel Hill, a little bit overweight last year, but he was talented. But the fact that they didn't have what they needed up front, getting the push that they needed up front, they couldn't show it. And those deficiencies overrode the talent, and we saw what happened. So hopefully that offensive line can continue to gel the way that they need to gel, so the running backs can do what they need to do, and the running backs can be more knowledgeable in pass protection, like Daniel Hill said. And, if those two things come together, that can definitely help the ceiling of this offense, especially when you're putting in a new quarterback, whether that's Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. And those players can, whichever quarterback it is, can, be able to spread the ball around to their weapons. And I think that that's a big thing. Army EP 6LZ says Delegati at center will help out. He's got experience. Yes, sir. Delegati, even though it's Big Sky experience at Cal Poly, Delegati is a smart football player. He's really taken command of this Alabama offensive line since he's gotten here. He's making the calls with confidence. He's because the head of the snake at the offensive line position starts at the center position. So the fact that he's been pretty much jumping in, doing what he's been able to do this spring, I definitely think that will help. So I'm definitely in agreement.
That is true. That is true, gentlemen. That is true. Delgatti will bring that magic, and I agree wholeheartedly with Army 3275 on that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Kalen DeBoer's press conference from last Friday. Because he talked a little bit about the quarterback battle and the kicker battle as well. Because that, I know everybody's talking about the quarterback battle, but the battle between both the kickers, whether it's Quinn or if it's going to be Talty as the starting kicker, that's going to be a huge teller for the end of game situations in 2026 or end of first half situations.
Yeah, just in-game situations, period. Because at the end of the day, Alabama left a lot of points on the board due to poor special teams play and stuff like that. So the fact that Kalen DeBoer was able to bring in another kicker to push Connor Talty, and that kicker being Lorcan Quinn from Marshall, I think that's a big thing. But let's hear what Kalen DeBoer had to say about the particular competition.
I want to see him keep it going, but good scrimmage today. Getting what you want out of the first scrimmage in particular, 7 practices down. A lot of new faces, as we know, getting a lot of good reps. First time really seeing him tackle, and just the way the setup of the day's work coming off of spring break. So today was really good. A lot of evaluation that we can take from practice today and get better. We'll turn around and make sure we're improving on those areas on Monday.
7 practices, and what did you see from your quarterbacks?
Well, Jet Tamala and Taden Kawa, they're doing a great job.
Thank you.
No, I know. They did a great job today. Really talking about Austin and Keelan. I know that's what the question's about. So they, I think I love the aggressiveness that they have. They're not gun shy. They go and make plays, attacking whenever they can get the right opportunities with the throws, and they're making the throws, and the guys are coming through and making the plays for them and the catches. So I think they're gaining more confidence in the offensive line each and every day. That's going to take time. We know there's a lot of faces up front, but they're clear with their communication. There's not a lot that's catching them off guard, and so they can go out and let their skills, speak for themselves and make the plays.
Speaking of
I'm sorry.
Who do you like at the guard position?
At the guard, well, you guys know that Will Sanders isn't in there right now. Obviously, he would be thrown into the mix with his experience and ability. Different guys, we had Nick Brooks We've rotated Michael Carroll in there some. Michael is so diverse. You know, he can play guard and tackle, and it's been great allowing him to see what he does best, but also get some guys some reps. We need tackles. You know, Mike's going to be one of our three main tackles no matter what. You know that Jackson and Javen's done a nice job too, and so gives us a little bit of work that we can kind of figure out on the right side there. And then Ethan's done a nice job coming along. I thought this week was really a consistent step in the right direction for him. So is there anyone else you're kind of wondering about the guard spot? Mal has been in with the twos, rotated with the ones. You know, he at the end of the year had an injury and stuff. And so, you know, it's good to see him. You feel like he's really picking up and every single day gaining more and more confidence in each and every practice. I think this week was a good week for him. Consistency. I think there's areas, you know, he's pretty solid in pass pro, can get better in the run game. You know, just getting used to our offensive style and things like that, I think, but has started to pick things up and been consistent. You know, that's what you're looking for right now. You just don't want the highs and lows and just missed assignments that can come out of nowhere. And all of a sudden the quarterback's caught surprised in the backfield with a guy in his face. And so it starts with that, making sure the communication from center on out is there. And Rayson's doing a nice job getting that started. And so, you know, Javen outside just done a pretty consistent job. And that's what we want. Now we need to see him keep taking the next steps and become a dominant player for us.
Yeah, following up on that, Coach Rupp said that there was no competition.
Happen. That's not right. But I will say, like, so far from this press conference, you know, as we'll get to the kickers in a bit, what'd you think about it, Trevion?
Obviously, Kellen DeBoer not wanting to say too much about this Alabama quarterback competition. It's been pretty much kept close to the vest between Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. But from what I've heard and what I've seen, both quarterbacks are doing pretty well. So, you know, this battle is probably going to play out for as long as they can. You know, they probably want to just give each player the best opportunity to show whether who is and who isn't the guy. So, you know, it's not going to be much coming out about that quarterback position, like I said. But obviously with the offensive line and stuff like that, it's a lot of moving pieces, bringing in 6 new offensive line, still trying to put that together. But like I said, they have a base. They have something that they can work towards. I'll say it again with Racing Delegati, with Michael Carroll and Jackson Lloyd, and trying to fill it in with players like Ethan Fields from Mississippi. From Ole Miss. Also filling it in with a Javen James and Nick Brooks. I think those are the main contenders, along with Will Sanders, to fill in those 2 final spots on the Alabama offensive line. And that competition, I think, as well could go a while, because I also want to give all the players the best opportunity to compete. And, you know, competition brings out the best results. So hopefully we can see what happens there. But like I said, they're in a good spot, I feel like, just because the base that they have. But wonder what Jeffrey thinks about it.
Let's hear it.
I think the best part of that was the joke with the other 2 quarterbacks. He's like, yeah, they did good too. Oh yeah, I know who you want to talk about. We all know what they want to talk about, Mack and Keelan Russell. It's not those other guys, but I thought that was it was a good joke. You know, you want to see some bright spirits and humor as well. You know, some people just don't really exude that much, but you know, that was funny to see from DeBoer. But yeah, I mean, again, we all know that we're not going to know anything for a long time on the QB situation. We're going to learn more from the other positions, you know, on who's standing out. I agree with you, Trevion, that it is good that, you know, you have at least a couple guys with O-line that you're sure about. The issue is that there's a lot of new pieces, a lot of moving parts, and a lot of guys that we don't know how they're going to step up. The positive news is that there's a lot of unknown, and I mean, that can be negative too, but that can be positive because since there's unknown, at least it's not the same old story. It's not, same old offensive line coach. It's not the same players we had last year overall. So, a couple of them, but a lot of new faces. And that could be a big improvement. I mean, our offensive line is probably the most polarizing position. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's definitely the position that we don't know. Like it could be here, it could be here. High ceiling, low floor. They could be anywhere in that range. And I think that that's a little scary, but it definitely at least you have a shot that it's going to be a lot better of an offensive line next year. I think the combination of new O-line coach that we seem very confident in. Yeah, and I mean, our rival getting our old O-line coach is even better.
Love seeing that. Coach Cap destroying Auburn.
But yeah, it's just to me, I mean, that's the position that's going to make or break the team next year. I mean, it's got to be better. And no matter how much Daniel Hill's improved or our quarterback, how good that they are next year, if the O line's not improved, it's just not going. It's only going to take us so far. So, but it seems there's a lot of positive news from that front. DeBoer again alluding to the moving parts, moving guys around, a lot of young guys, a lot of trying to figure out who's going to take those 5 spots overall. But again, iron sharpens iron. All those guys seem to be, from what we're hearing, they're working really hard to get better, and hopefully Clem is doing a really good job of putting them in a position to succeed, and they can find those 5 guys and they can have a better season than last year. Because again, last year was rough. It was not
well,
good.
He can and he will, because after we're seeing a lot of film of the offensive linemen bringing out some meanness on the defensive line in practice, I feel pretty good about where the offensive line is going to be for 2026. But I believe one position battle that we might have more of an answer on is the kicker. But here's Kalen DeBoer with more.
As in our personnel, I think with those guys you mentioned are going to allow us to do that. They still got a ways to go, but I like the direction we're headed.
Is Connor Talty your kicker?
Again. Anyway, so he talks a little bit about Lorcell Quinn from Marshall and Talty, the returning kicker for Alabama. Now, one stat I've looked at is Quinn is 4 of 6 in 50-plus yard field goals from last season at Marshall. But Talty had zero field goals from 50-plus yards. That's not good right there.
Yeah, so the fact that Kellen DeBoer was able to bring in some open competition and not pretty much just hand Connor Talty the job, I think that's going to bring out the best in Connor Talty, whether he's a starting kicker or not. I mean, but we got the sound right.
Direction we're headed.
Is Connor Talty your kicker? Is there not?
I mean, when you bring in someone else, it's open competition. I mean, it's pretty obvious to Connor that's the case. What I love about Connor is he didn't shy away from it and decided to stay here. He knew it. He had plenty of time to leave if he wanted to. He wanted to stay here. He's got it in him. Just continue to battle and like that competition there. I think we're going to be good. I know we're going to be good no matter who it is and whoever wins out because there's both of them have a pretty high ceiling.
Who's impressed you with those inside linebacker?
Yeah, I mean, it feels pretty good, but
I like that a lot. I mean, everything about that sequence is fantastic. I mean, for one thing, that's a forgotten position, and it's something that even the greatest coach of all time, Nick Saban, overlooked a lot. I mean, we had, no offense, but we had some garbage kickers in the 2010s. I mean, absolutely. I don't remember half their names, and I'm no offense to those guys. They're probably good people, but
the only one I can remember is Lay Tiffin, Van Tippen's son, but that's about it.
Overall, we had bad kickers for the most part, and toward the end of Saban's tenure, it got better, but kicker's important. I mean, you're not going to score touchdowns every possession. It's just not the way it works. And there are some times when you run out of time at the end of a game and you need a field goal. You need a guy to make a field goal, and that can make or break your season. That can make or break a game, whatever. And, just giving the job to Talty would have been a mistake, after last season's inconsistencies. So, I mean, definitely bringing in a guy that can push him. I mean, it doesn't matter who wins the job at the end of the day because of the fact that some teams do 2 kickers. And he said it right here. Great comment. There's a lot of teams that have a guy that kicks short and then a guy that kicks long. Indiana even did that last year. So, I mean, if – when you said Talty doesn't kick 50-yard field goals, I mean, or doesn't make them, it's like, well, he doesn't have to if he can hit the shorter ones. Honestly, what Talty really struggled with last year for a while there was those 30 to 40-yard field goals. He was hitting a lot. It was 30 to 40 ones he was missing.
Yeah, they were like 7. Talty was 7 of 10 in the 49-yard field goals for 2025, 4 of 6 in the 20 of 29-yard field goals, and 5 of 6 in the 39-yard field goals.
He missed a lot of shorter field goals, and that's not common for really good kickers in college football. A lot of them they ace the shorter ones. He missed a lot. That can't happen next year if he's going to retain the job. But I think it's great they brought in Quinn. I think that is fantastic. It's good for competition. It doesn't again matter who wins the job. But I really like what he said though about how he stuck it out. He didn't transfer that because, again, we're seeing this with so many players, and I don't blame these players. I don't. It's like, oh, well, I'm not guaranteed the job, or, oh, I'm not going to get the job. I'm going to leave. That's fine, but is that making you better? No, it's not, because you're running from adversity. You're running from competition. That is probably the most detrimental aspect of the transfer portal is that. Talty staying, whether he wins the job or not, shows that he actually was going to take the chance to hey, I might not win this, but I'm going to battle. I'm going to try, and he got a lot of flack last year. I mean, we're not a forgiving fan base. We're an elite program, and elite programs in college basketball. Look at Caden Boozer. I know this is completely off topic, but Caden Boozer right now, Duke fans are completely just.
Oh man, like that pass yesterday.
Caden Boozer is a big reason they got that far. He was playing very well for them. He made a mistake. It's like everyone makes mistakes. So it's like Talty, he made mistakes, but that tweet that it was showing when he was going off with his holder or whatever, that got completely taken out of context. People completely lost it, and that people were saying very nasty stuff toward him. I even responded to some of those people, and I was like, okay, yeah, he's not doing very well right now. He's got to do a lot better, but I think some people took it a little too far.
Sounds like
it was getting very ugly. So mad respect for Talty for not only not leaving over that, but not leaving over getting competition. So honestly, I would love to see him win the job and have a great season next year. It'd be awesome for him. Nothing against Quinn. I hope they both play. But I think it's a good situation overall.
I'm liking Army 3275's idea of have Talty have him be the short range kicker and have Quinn be the long range.
A lot of teams do that. Like I said, Indiana did it last year with Radicic and Frankie. A lot of teams do it. It's not uncommon at all, especially now that teams have more players. You can actually do that. You can have 2 kickers. It's not.
I mean, that's
so many roster spots now, so why not? If you can do that,
I mean, that's essential for games like against Tennessee or Georgia or Texas A&M. And South Carolina, Florida State, LSU, Auburn, all those games, like pretty much every one of the games for the 2026 season. And especially if Alabama is in the ACC title game, because like that is essential right there. You got to have the short range kicker and the long range kicker. I mean, love the stats from what I've seen from Quinn. And, and like you said, it's great that Talty is staying around to compete, and Kalen DeBoer respects that. Let's hear what Trevion has to say to give his take.
Yeah, for me, I just think a little bit of what Jeffrey said. I think that this position, something is forgotten about as the kicker. It sends a message to the entire roster that hey, you will compete. It will be competition all across this roster to get the best football players on the football field. I mean, kind of Talty. He came back like Jeffrey said. He didn't run from the competition, and the fact that Lorcan Quinn is coming in with a more proven resume and kind of Talty. Lorcan Quinn knocked in 18 to 24 field goals for 75%. Like you said, Jackson went 4 or 6 from 50 yards or longer. He has a career long of 55 yard made field goal. He has the Marshall record for the Marshall Herd in the Sun Belt. He was an all Sun Belt honoree last year in that conference, and he was kind of a weapon for them, consistently filling field position and providing the team with dynamic special teams play and stuff like that. So the fact that both of them going against each other each and every day, while people might not be paying attention to it, is going to make both of them better. It's going to make Alabama special teams better. And, you know, with having as much turnover as they had on the roster, the youth on this roster, you know, they can't afford to slack in little areas like that. So the fact that Kalen DeBoer notices that and he's pushing the competition message to the entire roster, like I said, it's only going to make this football team better. So you definitely like to see, you definitely like to hear stuff like that. Who knows how to materialize? They could go with the idea of having two kickers. One kicker could just stand above the other and be like, "Hey, I can do it all." But at the same time, at least it's a good problem to have, in my opinion, because you know, even in injury, because even if one of the kickers does win the job full time, we've seen injuries happen all the time. So you'll have Talty or you'll have Quinn just going through the competition that they're going through this spring, summer, and fall. They'll be ready to step in. So, you know, it's just a win all around, I feel like. So hopefully it materializes where both of them have an opportunity to contribute to the football team this year. I mean, but if not, at least we'll have better confidence in knowing that Kalen DeBoer was able to get the best out of the two, and we'll get the best product when we need that particular field goal at the end of the first quarter, when we need that field goal after halftime, we need that field goal to win the game in overtime or at the end of the fourth quarter. So I feel like it'll all work out. But like I said, competition everywhere is going to bring up the ceiling in the trajectory of this football team. So you love to see it.
Agreed. And lastly, to put a bow on this show, is the final thoughts of the 2025-2026 men's hoops season for the Alabama Crimson Tide, as unfortunately they lost to the Michigan Wolverines, but I was way too high on the odds being a little too high. I thought, okay, you're way too high, FanDuel, for putting Alabama plus 10.5, but I will say it was a pretty good game, but
I mean, they kept it close in the first half. Love the way that they were playing in the first half, but you could tell they ran out of gas, dealing with all that size and just Michigan's ability just to have more. And you know, they took big shout out to Coach Oates, because he coached his team higher than what their ceiling was, dealing with all the injuries and all the adversity that they have, missing their second leading scorer, the Bidiaco situation, everything that went on. He was able to still get them to the Sweet 16. So now we see the Sweet 16, 4 consecutive years. That's like the floor of this team. But now it's just addressing what they need to do to move forward. And the same problem continues to happen year after year with them just not having the bigs, to go pound for pound with some of those contending teams that stand in their way. So I feel like that loss, it was a blessing in disguise, because it now gives them the best body of work in years past, in this year that just passed, to see what they need to do long term. What do they need to target in the transfer portal? What players do they have to just go after in that front court position? But you know, I mean, you kind of feel for a player like LeBron Fallon. He gave us all, still dropping off 35 points, being the engine that drove that team as far as they went. So, you know, just want to give a big shout out to players like LeBron Fallon, like Latrell Wrightsell and Houston Millett, who we saw the pictures of Houston Millett this past weekend. Even after the game over, 24 hours after the game over, he still got his jersey on. So it just meant that much to him. But you hate to see stuff like that. But I feel like the future is bright, especially having Coach Nate Oates continuing to lead the ship. Everything looking up. So big shout out to Alabama basketball, regardless of the result.
Yeah, man. Like, because it was like on the one hand, I really hated seeing what happened Friday night, but then on the other hand, it was like years ago thinking, huh, I'd be happy to see Alabama get to March Madness every year. And like the last few years we've had with Nate Oates, where it's like 2 SEC titles in the tournament and just like a Final Four run the Elite Eight, and this year being a Sweet 16 run. It's pretty cool to see what Alabama's getting with Nate Oates. And with that comes with teams looking for coaches where it's like North Carolina's thinking, we're going to try to get Nate Oates. But here's what Greg Burns said. He's bringing out the Genjitsu, as he says. Nate Oates is not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. Nor should he be. That's not going to happen. All those rumors for nothing.
Well, I mean,
I
North
love it.
Carolina's like they're going after the big names, like massive names, and whether they land one of them or not is to be determined. But it's I mean, no slot against Nate Oates, but like you've seen who they're targeting. I guess I don't know if they'll get them or not, but when it comes to Alabama's season, I mean, my thoughts it's mixed because I think on the one hand, it's insane to think about the fact that, like you said, Jackson, used to is like, could Alabama just make the tournament and especially make the tournament consistently? Now that Nate Oates has been at Alabama for many years now, and he's taken to a Final Four, and he's won championships in the SEC, and he's had all this success, this just felt like a standard year. That's incredible. Yeah. That's absolutely incredible because that should not be happening in Alabama basketball. When I was a kid, Alabama basketball was horrible. So, I mean, that's amazing. A Sweet 16 year, and it feels like just another year and like an average year for Nate Oates. That's amazing. Nate Oates staying is huge because prior to probably 5 or 6 years ago, I don't think any high coach, like big name coach that's doing very well would have stayed here. No. I think the landscape has changed. You're seeing guys like, TJ Otzelberger and Byington. And some of these, I'm not saying they'll stay forever, but they're like Byington just got a long-term extension at Vanderbilt. You're seeing Signetti in Indiana again. You're seeing smaller schools. Not that Alabama's a small school, but schools that don't have success in football or basketball are keeping coaches at a higher rate because of financial support. NIL, like it's medium deals, especially with Big Ten SEC schools. It's huge. So it's a great sign for the future for Alabama that it looks like Nate Oates is actually locked in. He's not going off to the NBA. He's not going to a North Carolina or he turned Michigan down when they ended up hiring Dusty May. I mean, that's massive stuff. And if he continues to stay at Alabama, you would assume that Alabama is going to consistently be competitive in the future, which is great. The other side, the downside is that things that have not been addressed for Nate Oates to make the team better, including getting better bigs. That the problem is that his style of play works 95% of the time. It works. Mm-hmm. Like when they're shooting the three at a high rate, it works. When they're playing teams that aren't that big like them, it works. But then you go up against the Michigan and it just completely falls apart and you've got zero chance unless you make 23s, and they didn't. And it's just
that was one of the problems.
To win it all, you have to have a complete team. You have to shoot the three well. You have to defend well. You have to have size. You have to have good point guards. You have to have good wings. You have to have everything. And the teams that are left have those things. They've got all those factors. Illinois has got bigs. Illinois has got shooters. UConn is bigs. UConn is shooters. Michigan and Arizona are insanely good. Alabama don't have that. And if Nate Oates never achieves that, then Alabama is always going to be this type of team that they go far, they win a lot of games, and they're very, very good, but they're not going to reach that next step. And obviously, March Madness, it's roulette every year. You don't know if you're going to go far. A really good team could lose in the first round. But the thing is that it is a consistent pattern. We know it's wrong. We know the Nate Oates has them right there. And that's what's so frustrating. He's done such an amazing job at Alabama. Before he got here, we sucked in basketball. It was an afterthought. He's done an amazing job, but he's this close. To get to that next step, you've got to address that small fraction. You don't have to abandon the offense. You don't have to abandon what's made Alabama great and what has made him a great coach. But you just got to get a little bit better. Plus, in the future, I really would like to see Alabama again. I know some things are unavoidable, but have less attention-getting news stories. You know, that the dampering stories we had, the two big ones this year, sucked and was not needed, and it could have been avoided.
Oh,
Both.
great.
And I think that for Alabama basketball to truly become elite, definitely you need Nate Oates to address a couple of the key things that can make the teams better in the future, and not have any bad news stories that drag our reputation to the floor.
No.
So, because
Yeah,
right now,
great.
Alabama's getting laughed at all over the place just for the stupid stuff, and I don't like that. I know, again, that's not all on Nate Oates, but it's just that's more of a program, situation. So I think overall, I give the season a B+. I would have given it an A- at least, but the two stories that really drug the season down just a hair a little bit, and plus just at times they were very inconsistent. But at the end of the year, they came on really strong, and it was a great season. It was definitely a great season for Nate Oates and Alabama, and definitely I agree with Travion. The future's bright, but I definitely hope he addresses those couple of key things, especially with the bigs, because if he can and does, then I think Alabama can be like these elite programs right now. Like elite.
You guys made an excellent point about like how Alabama got way too reliant on the 3-point game, where it's great most of the time, but sometimes it's bad. And like Michigan outsized Alabama Friday night, no doubt about it. And like the comeback victories helped against teams like Tennessee, but where it didn't help Alabama was like games against Georgia, where we got a little too reliant on comeback victories, which like they were great most of the time, but some of the time they were not. But like we had like the Bediako situation and the situation with Holloway, and on the bright side, Alabama did smack Texas Tech, and it was a 25-point win, and it's
Texas
tied.
Tech played horrible in that game,
man, and it was tied with the 25-point victory against BYU in the Sweet 16 as the most point, the most in point margin in a March Madness game for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I wanted to see if Alabama was going to break its own record against Texas Tech in point margin. But I mean, hey, there's next season. But for me, I'll grade this season as a B, just a big old B for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Usually I rate lower than you. I'm shocked at that because I almost went A-, but I said B+ because I'm still taking into account that before Nate Oates, where we were was poor. I mean, we're relevant. Like Alabama basketball is always in the conversation now. Like even this year, some people are like, they go on a run, you never know. Like if they can get by Michigan, you never know. Like if you're in that conversation, even if it's on the fringes of being a national championship contender, then that's a great thing. So that's why I didn't do it a B, but I get why you have it a B.
Yeah, I mean, like
it was such a mixed season. It was such a mixed season. Like it was on the higher end. It was better than it was bad, but it was mixed.
Yeah, and it's like we usually have not worried about whether who's going to get Nate Oates or not, but it's like the only team I consider worrying about a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit, is if and when the Kansas job opens up. It's like Bill Self. We don't know what's happening down there. It's not what we know; it's what we don't know on how long he's there at Kansas. Because, you and I talked about last week, Jeffrey, with the heart issues Self has had. We don't know what's happening.
Yeah, but the fact that Greg Byrne was able to go out and pretty much put an end to all speculation that Coach Nate Oates is staying, I think that's big, and I think it's big just because about the talent that he's bringing in. He has a top 30 recruit in Jackson Richardson, son of Jason Richardson, who used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's a top shooting guard, small forward in the class of 2027. So they have that coming in. And plus, Nate Oates has been able to show that he can have talent go to the next level. We're about to see it with LeBaron Fallon be a lottery pick. We saw it with Brandon Miller, and we seen it with countless other players now carving out roles at the NBA level and stuff like that. But something that Jeffrey said definitely stuck out to me. having those situations happen, it's a culture thing. Coach Nados has to continue to build the culture of that Alabama basketball team. I know a lot of situations, some of them are out of his control. You can't control what your athletes are doing when you are not looking, but you have to continue to build that culture so that, even if you build culture, stuff still happens, but you have to continue to build that culture by bringing in the right players, bringing in the right assistant coaches, and building that standard that, hey, these things cannot happen. So that's something, an area that he has to grow in as he moves forward as Alabama's basketball coach. But he's been able to turn other things around, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I definitely think that those situations are kind of anomalies, not anything that is in his control. And I just think that overall, as they move forward, like you said, getting more front court players that are versatile, and the players that you bring in, being able to get production out of them, because I forgot the big tall. He was 6'8". He when Alabama played Illinois earlier in the year, the front court player that they had, he had the dreads and stuff like that. He had a good game, but he did not contribute towards the end of the season and stuff like that. He had probably about one good moment in the season. So, it's just about the players that you bring in, getting that return on investment and stuff like that, so that, you can.
You're talking about Amari Allen?
No, not Amari Allen is a freshman. You definitely want to bring him back.
Of
Amari
course. You got to bring Allen back.
Yeah. But he was a freshman. He signed with Alabama. I wasn't talking about it. I was talking about particular transfer player. Obviously, I'm not as adverse in Alabama
Taylor
basketball.
Bo Bowen, was it him?
No, not Bo Bowen. Bo Bowen,
I can't remember.
Yeah, Bo Bowen, of course, like him, he didn't really come as advertised. He had a few bright spots, but he wasn't as productive. It was another player. It'll come to me.
Noah Williamson, 7'0".
Yeah, no, not Noah Williamson. Noah Williamson.
Said he was 6'8".
Yeah, 6. That's crazy. I don't remember his name. But yeah, Noah Williamson. He even showed more promise than this dude. But the fact that with that just being said, just using him as an example, they have to get return on investments on the players that they bring.
Bristow.
In. Yeah, Briscoe. It's Briscoe. That's exactly
he had 10 in the Illinois game.
Yeah, he had a good game versus Illinois. I know that was early in the season, but the fact that they wasn't able to keep that up, and there was some rumors about him potentially not playing due to lack of NIL and stuff like that, and stuff not even related to basketball. And he pretty much sat on the bench. He was healthy, but he couldn't help them in the long run. He had fell out of the rotation. Obviously, some stuff going on behind the scenes. But with that being said, you have to those type of players. You got to get the right type of players in the system. Get the right type of players in the program that can help you long term. So that's pretty much Coach Nado's next big step. But I have confidence with Greg Byrne bringing him back that he's able to do so. But I didn't really give a grade on this season, But I'm gonna go along the same lines as y'all. Still making the Sweet 16. Still being one of the last SEC teams to stand in the tournament and stuff like that. I don't want to give them. I don't want to reward. Falling short. But the fact that they have at least made this the standard under Coach Nados that we will be in the tournament year after year. We will make a deep run. We will win games. We will protect our home floor. We will have talent like LeBaron Furlan potentially be drafted in the lottery and have those type of players. I'll give him a B as well. So I think as a group, we all grade him as a
great mind think alike.
Yeah, I think we'll grade this season as a B. But like I said, I think this season showed a lot of what they need to do to take those next steps to be real contenders, real Final Four contenders, and take that next step into adding that first trophy to Alabama's trophy case in basketball. Because you look at the script, that's the standard. It's championships. It's championships everywhere. So for them to be for Alabama to really be a basketball school, and then, like I said, it's an everything school to me, but for them to really be a basketball school, for them to be a powerhouse for real, they have to take those next steps.
Oh man,
I do have one question because I know we're about to wrap the show up, but something you said earlier, Jackson, intrigued me. You said the Kansas job. Why would you? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just in your opinion, why would you think the Kansas job would pose a threat since Carolina didn't and Michigan didn't and a lot of these other big jobs have not?
Stability. Like they've had a lot more stability than like North Carolina. They've only fired a coach one time, that's it. Like they've never really had their coaches leaving, and a lot of basketball history. I think there's a lot of that. And, if they're deciding to really go all in on NIL, which if they're like, it's massive over in Kansas. And, it's like, you don't want to replace a legend, but thing is, Bill Self replaced the legend. Roy Williams replaced the legend. And I think Larry Brown didn't replace legend, but I mean, it's like they got a lot of them over at Kansas.
I mean, that's fair. That is fair. I just think the landscape's changed, though. I think it's to the point where these other programs can compete so much that job is not. How is that job better than Carolina? Yeah, to me, it's not. Like, Carolina is available right now. And if he's not going to go there, I'm not saying he wouldn't go to Kansas. I'm not saying you're wrong. You absolutely could be right. I don't see it, though. To me, it's like if he's going to leave Alabama, it would make sense if he went to the NBA. Which he's already declined and turned down before. Not saying that he wouldn't eventually, but I just, to me, I don't see how that job is different than Carolina. Like Michigan is loaded in NIL in every sport right now, and he didn't go there. I'm not saying that maybe they didn't want him or not. I think they really did, but they went with Dusty May. But it's just like, to me, I mean, the Carolina job's open right now, and he could go there. Absolutely. And he's not because they've already confirmed it. So I don't know. I don't think he would. To me, I think, Kansas is a blue blood school and they've had many great coaches, but I would think Otzelberger would be more likely than Nate Oates.
I can say that.
I think Otzelberger's more likely. I'm not saying he'd leave either because Iowa State really wants to keep him as well. But to me, he would be way more likely to go to Kansas than Nate Oates.
Yeah, me personally, if I were a coach in today's game, I'd want to build a legacy at a place that everybody says can't be done, as opposed to like see if I could fit the Mount Rushmore of coaches or not.
And that's what Coach Nate Oates is doing at Alabama. I mean, you look at if he stopped coaching today, would he not be on that Mount Rushmore?
He'd be like he's the greatest of all time at Alabama basketball.
He'd be the middle face, the ambassador. So I feel
that's
like
the argument I made to Kurt Signetti staying in Indiana. You go to another school, you're just another dude. You stay in Indiana, you're already the best coach in Indiana history, and it took two seasons. You're the best coach.
He already is. And he already is.
Exactly. And you got like Fred Hoiberg at Nebraska, where it's like.
I know, Steve. I know. I had to throw it in there, though. It is relevant, and it makes it's the same comparison. But yeah. I mean, the thing with Hoiberg, that is a completely different situation because that guy took years and years and years. He's been in Nebraska for like almost a decade now. Yeah. They fired that Miles guy in like 2017, 2018. I don't remember exactly what year.
2019, actually.
It's been almost a decade, though. And it's like Hoiberg had a lot of rough seasons, but they stuck it out. A lot of programs won't give a coach that much time.
They throw the baby out with the bathwater a lot. They do that a lot. But, it's like I'm glad that, there are some programs that don't do that. That's a win right there. But that is time. But before we head off for the night and just kind of count down the rest of the season, especially on our calendars, we'll start with Jeffrey and have him tell us what magic he's got cooking this week.
Definitely have more content on basketball and March Madness. Might be doing a Final Four stream, not like of the games, but like predicting the Final Four in the national championship game this week, possibly. Also might be doing a show maybe then later tonight with Will. I'm not 100% sure. We'll see, though. Definitely stay tuned maybe for that. But got more basketball content. It's going to be a lot of stuff. The transfer portal is going to be crazy in basketball. You've got coachings, possibly. I don't know if there'll be any more firings, but you never know. It can happen. Retirements if Bill Self decides. But there's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, so definitely stay tuned for that. I appreciate if you definitely would subscribe and also follow me on X as well if you haven't already. But most importantly, subscribe to Alabama, the voice of college football, because, again, even though it is the offseason, even though Bama basketball is even now in their offseason, there's always stuff to talk about. We're going to keep covering it for you until next football and basketball season. It's a long time to wait, but it will be back before we know it.
There you go. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers to publish about the magic that Jeffrey brings on Only Talk Sports and right here on Alabama with the Voice of College Football, where he talks sports every single day, or at least he tries to.
Roll, Tide, roll, everybody.
There we go. Roll, Tide, roll, and we don't give a damn about nothing but the Tide all right here. Trevion, what magic have you got cooking this week, good buddy?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to give a big shout out to all our streaming podcast partners, Spotify, Apple Podcast, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Definitely want to shout out them. I don't know if we did that already, so I definitely want to give them a big shout out.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, so anywhere you can get your podcast, we are available anytime that you want to listen to us, whether it's in the car, at home, at the gym, walking through the park. We are here for you. We're available.
Right.
We definitely appreciate you. So if you could subscribe to the Alabama Voice of College Football podcast, we definitely appreciate that. We definitely appreciate all your ears and your whatever you're listening to by way of however you listen to us. We definitely appreciate that. But just going back to me, obviously this week, looking at week 3 of spring practice for Alabama football. Tomorrow, I believe some position coaches are going to be talking, so that'll be very interesting to see what comes from those interviews there. Obviously looking at continuing to break down this Alabama football roster now as we turn our full attention to football, and we inch closer to A-Day. I definitely got some stories out, put out 2 stories today, looking to continue to put out multiple stories on a daily basis. If you want to check out to see what I got going on, you can check me out on X at TWorld1K. That's on X at TWorld1K, right for the Bama Hammer, at the Fansided Network. My link's in my bio. The stories are down my page. They're pretty accessible. They're pretty good. I'd say, don't want to toot my own horn, but if you want to check out to see what I got going on, you can definitely check me out on X at TWorld1K. If you throw me a follow, I'll follow you back. That ain't no issue. If you just want to lurk around and see some good content, I have no problem with that either. But other than that, really just continuing just to see what else is going around in the college football landscape and how I can relate that to Alabama football. And as we continue to move through spring into summer and storylines that are coming, just continuing just to be creative. So definitely appreciate everybody that supports me and look to continue to put out good content.
There you go. Tell your friends, your family, and the cashiers at pubs about the magic that Trevion brings all right here on Alabama with the Voice of College Football and at Bama Hammer at Fansided, and give him a follow at TWorld1K as he inches closer to 2,500 followers, but also let's get him close to 3,000 followers before the month of May. Let's do that, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. And a little fastest 1 minute with me is you can check me out on Jackson Johnson 979, where I've got some episodes of the Jackson coming up and some other stuff as well. But also for more updates, what I've got going on Alabama with the Voice of College Football and SEC at the Voice of College Football, where Tucker Harlan and myself will be joined by Chris Barler of LouisianaSports.net, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, frequent guest of the Paul Feinbaum Show and host of Locked On South Carolina. Chris Barler will join us Wednesday night. And you can check out Trevion and myself tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. For more updates, what I've got going on Alabama with the Voice of College Football, SEC at the Voice of College Football, the Jackson, once, twice a week appearances on Locked On West Virginia Mountaineer. Paul, check me out on JacksonBOCFB on ed/Twitter and on Instagram and Threads, Jackson Johnson 543908. And with that being said, like, comment, subscribe, click on the notification bell so you never miss another video or episode whatsoever. And we will see y'all soon. And roll Tide.
Good night, everybody.